This year's selection for 2011 is Outcast United by Warren St. John. So it's a wonderful book that's going to just reiterate and drive in all of the points that both Dr. Tejas Irvin and Dr. Mayer spoke about. And we have a special guest with us here today that's going to talk just about what this book does and how this book can really bring the UF campus community together. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce Becky Burley, the head women's soccer coach here at the University of Florida.
Well, first I'd like to say I'm honored to be able to speak about this book because I really have a passion for reading. I have a passion for soccer, and I really love this book, and I think everybody is going to really enjoy this as the selection. I don't want to give away too much about the book, but to tell you just a little brief history to kind of whet your appetite for it. It's about a town called Clarkston, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta, and there's a Jordanian woman who lives there. She was an American-educated Jordanian woman who starts to get together this group of refugees to form a soccer team, which is the Outcasts United. This team is made up of refugees from all over the world. Clarkston happens to be a place where a lot of refugees are placed after they have lost their homes in different situations around the world. So her team has kids from Iraq, Afghanistan, the Sudan, Somalia. I mean, it's just a real eclectic mix of people. And she brings them together in this very rural southern community that sort of resists change a little bit. And you know, the book is about her soccer team and what they go through, but probably more broadly it's about dealing with a lot of social change and creating a community and an environment where it seems on the surface that these people don't have a lot in common. And I think that's a very good analogy to UF. When the new students come and it's the first year, you know, you're put in with groups of people that you don't know, and it's a brand new experience. And you know, there's two ways to go about that: really immersing yourself in that. Or in the other case would be to not do that. And in my reading of this book, I was really inspired by how the coach of this Outcast United team was able to bring people together, both the community people as well as the refugees that were playing on our team. One of the things that I really liked about this book is that just being open-minded about the diversity of her group. My first experience with travel in my entire life, I was 17 years old and my brother was living in Turkey, so he sent me a ticket to fly to meet him in Turkey. I'd never even been to Canada before. And it was a very eye-opening experience for me as a 17-year-old who had never been out of the country. And soccer, you have to understand that, you know, why the soccer is a big part of this is because it's such a global game, and you have something in common with anyone if you can speak soccer. So when I went to this trip to Turkey, my brother and I happened upon this little fair that they were having in the town that he was living in, and they had little games at the fair. Well, one of the games was a penalty kick booth, and if you went to the penalty kick booth, there's a guy in there playing in goal, and if you took 3 penalty kicks, and if you scored 2 of them, then you got a prize. So my brother's like, "Oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do this." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, do it." So I go up to the booth and, you know, put my ticket down to take the penalty kicks, and first of all, that drew quite a crowd because here I was a female taking these penalty kicks, and it wasn't really a big, you know, it's kind of an unusual situation to have a female playing soccer. So I get up there, and, you know, I've played a lot of soccer, so I scored. And the first one, all I could hear was the guys just really harassing. I don't care what language, you know when someone's trash talking. So they were really giving the guy a hard time. So then I kind of felt a little bad for him. So the second one, I didn't really try as hard, and he saved it. And then the third one, my brother was like trash talking me, and he's like, "What are you doing? Just score." So I took the third one and I made it. So all of the guys were going crazy. You know, they're all screaming and yelling. And so then you get a prize if you get the 2 out of the 3. And the prize was a package of Turkish cigarettes. So I was like, okay. But you know, for me, soccer has been such an impact on my life, and I think part of the reason that the refugees in this book can relate to the game of soccer is because it's something that everyone in the world is so passionate about, but it also is the sport that is of the people. It's nothing to do with equipment. I brought this little ball with me, actually, that one of our players brought back from a mission trip. It's made of corn husks and twine. I've seen balls in other countries made of shopping bags. socks. I mean, you find something that can be formed into a round ball, and you have a soccer game. And I think that commonality of a sport like soccer has really allowed me to interact with a diversity of people that I may never have had a chance to. Every time I get into a cab in New York City or in LA or anywhere, we talk soccer. And it's always such a fun environment to be able to have a common language to discuss with somebody. But what I was really interested in the book, and I think this really applies to UF too, is that there's a Harvard political scientist, his name is Robert Putnam, and in the book there's a study that, he quotes in the study that inhabitants of hyper-diverse communities tend to withdraw from collective life and distrust their neighbors. And what happens in Clarkston is this influx of the refugees is a very big change to their community, and it happens very quickly over the course of 5 years. I think now in Clarkston, between 1/3 and 1/2 of the population there is foreign-born. The local high school in Clarkston has over 50 countries represented in their high school. So that opportunity for the coach of this team to bring together these two groups made an impact not just on the boys that she was coaching, but also on the entire community, and opened a lot of doors. One of my favorite quotes is from Mark Twain, where he says, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness." And I think that's what happens when you come to a school like UF. You get exposed to the diversity, and all of a sudden it just opens your mind to the possibilities that are there. And I was really inspired by the book. Kind of like what Patricia said, is that one person can make a difference. And in this particular book, one person makes a huge difference in her community as well as to the boys that she interacts with. And it was very, very inspiring for me. And to do that through the game of soccer just really hit it home for me. So I'm really excited that this book was chosen, and I hope that all of you enjoy it as much as I did. And I appreciate you letting me speak about it. Thanks.